Hi, and welcome to the weekly predictions based on astrology for the week of January 11, 2021. In terms of the stock market direction, I believe that the Monday through Wednesday we will see market going up, and that on the 14th, Thursday, there's going to be a reversal in the direction, and that Thursday and Friday are going to be down days. And as I mentioned, regardless of the direction, I think 14 is going to see a reversal in the direction compared to the 13th. And moreover, it's not just the direction in the stock market, but if there are any pending projects or initiatives, or perhaps some sort of legal judgments that maybe have been issued prior to the 14th, there may be a change in the direction or reversal on the 14th, and the areas that may be affected in particular involve IT, telecommunications, airlines, airspace, power generating companies, maybe production of any sort of like electric gadgets, batteries, electric cars, etc. And let's see, on the entire week, pretty much is going to see strong moves both in the stock market and strong fluctuations and volatility in cryptocurrencies and any sort of stocks or value of products or services and companies that are related to finance. And unfortunately, the strong transits that we're experiencing this entire month will actually continue to intensify over the next couple of weeks. And I would say the market volatility, including currencies and cryptocurrencies in particular, will remain strong throughout, say, February 7. So let's see, for Monday specifically, I think it's going to be a busy news day with increased focus on communication, transportation, and either news about, say, sales and acquisitions of companies, or maybe just information on reports about car manufacturers, airlines, social media, and again, all the companies that are somehow involved in communication and transportation. There may also be increased news about international relations, either like legal decisions of any sort or foreign, partnerships, and there may also be increased focus on either activities of various like international organizations or groups that again span various either nationalities or rather nations or various industries. There may also be focus on sort of issues of like equality, freedom, rights, etc. And again, all of those are Uranian sort of subjects. And as I mentioned, that there may be some sort of a change in the status of either one of these kind of businesses, for example, related to IT or airlines, or in the status of a related concept. So for example, from the 13th and especially to the 14th. So maybe if maybe there's a legal decision pending on granting some sort of a right or taking away a right, then there may be a reversal in that decision from the 13th to the 14th, or could be plus minus a few days, but I think it may be exactly on the 14th. And also sort of with this enhanced influence of Uranus also tends to make things go faster. So any developments, and again, especially related to communication, transportation, and that's for the entire week and even into the next week, especially communication, transportation, and all the Uranian subjects, such as, again, airlines, IT, telecommunications, airspace, exploration, etc. Those industries or changes in those industries may proceed a lot faster than expected, or if there are sort of, again, changes in international negotiations of some sort, or if there's a sale pending, again, things may either take an unexpected turn. There may be surprises, power service outages, etc. And things may also be proceeding at a much greater pace than expected. And again, Monday is when we will start hearing about some of these events, but they will continue to intensify into the next couple of weeks. So the entire month and this particular week, the week of January 11th, is likely going to be somewhat disruptive or at least exciting. So on the positive, we may hear about perhaps innovations of some sort, or initiatives that are really cool and sort of involve high tech or like I said, space exploration or some new way of perhaps generating power, something that allows, processing data a lot faster, or perhaps, going somewhere to, do asteroid mining, or send a rocket into space further than before, or some interesting new innovative projects may be introduced this month as well, in particular this week. And again, that's a positive sort of manifestation of the ongoing aspects that we can expect, like a technological advancement, scientific discovery. At the same time, there may also be increased probability this whole week of accidents that involve some sort of failure of some machinery, where maybe an old part has worn out, or maybe it has been subjected to excessive force, like overheating, and it breaks down. Again, on the positive side, it could be if it's caught sort of during, say, an inspection or repairs, then that particular issue may be identified, and the positive manifestation could be that based on that issue, things can be developed, a new approach can be developed that fixes things and becomes basically an innovative solution that that can be implemented long term. And again, IT, telecommunications, transportation, especially anything that's flying, like airlines or electric cars, those would be the areas where both the accidents may occur, but also innovative solutions may be also applied. And other things that may occur this week, and again, unfortunately, over the next couple of weeks as well, and maybe even worse sort of next week, is we may have kind of excessively windy or turbulent weather, and in particular anything that's like related to air and water, so maybe excessive rain, but also with winds, or some problems related to excessive snow accumulation, which we already had seen that in like Spain, for example, and in some parts of Asia, like Japan, etc. But then unfortunately may intensify into the next week, and again, just too much sort of, or perhaps, again, wind knocks out power. And unfortunately, we had this accident as predicted, but again, nothing, to be, as I said, a tragic accident where we had in Indonesia, a plane went down, and it went down into water, and basically, so the situations that we may expect this week and the next week, especially, that again, problems with air and water. So something occurs in the air and it affects water, or vice versa. Maybe there are some really strong waves and they capsize a ship. So whatever is occurring is may be very like unexpected and occurring very fast, so that it may be difficult to prepare for something like that. Certainly, it's important to take precaution and also to address things very quickly, because again, with Uranus, things will be unfolding faster than expected, so there may not be as much time to react as usual. And there may be intensification of various like skirmishes, military skirmishes, also, like I said, power outages, perhaps fires, or some transformer explodes, outages in power and services, so any sort of online services, or delivery problems, etc. So all of those things may see some disruptions. Now, specifically for 11th and 12th of January, there particularly may be increased surprising announcements about either discoveries and technical advancements, especially again IT, airspace, electric vehicles, social media, etc. But also there could be some sudden breakdowns in communication and service outages, and something that again could be related to airlines or even space exploration. Both could be something exciting and new being discovered, but also could be some power outages and service outages. And unfortunately, again, 11-12 may see increased probability of strong earthquakes and landslides. On the 12th to 13th of January, there could be positive news for industries related to banking and finance, as well as cryptocurrencies, so their value and profits may increase. I'm recording this on Monday afternoon, although I did post the predictions on Sunday already on my blog at plastunka.com. So as predicted, there were some big drop, I guess, in cryptocurrencies earlier today, but Tuesday and Wednesday actually look like there might be some positive news for banking industry and cryptocurrencies. For the US, January 12 to 14 may see some important news coming out, again, related to bank, financial institutions, and currencies. And this may involve either changes in value or also changes in processing of, say, payments. Maybe we can see greater than usual fluctuations in the value of USD, or perhaps some sort of changes, again, in logistics of how online payments are processed or how one can send payments over the internet. And these changes may be perceived by general public as unfavorable, unpopular, and as because they would be upsetting established ways. Again, this could be an innovation of sorts, but it may not necessarily be immediately welcomed by general public because they may see it as disruptive, again, to what had previously been applied or used. Let's see, Wednesday the 13th, and right literally at midnight New York time, we will have a new moon. So it is always interesting to pay attention to what occurs on the new moon day, which is the 13th, at least for the New York time, because the events of the day typically color the rest of the month, with perhaps like some important events occurring mid-month, so in about 2 weeks on the full moon on January 28. So with all these kind of tense, disruptive transits occurring at this time, unfortunately, it could be that this energy will be with us for this entire, following 28 days following the 13th. But basically, I would say pay attention. Whatever occurs on the 13th may be something that will be like in the mood, I guess, for the next 28 days. And 13th is the day before Uranus turns direct on the 14th. So there definitely may be some sort of changes 13th to 14th. So there may be definitely some sort of either disruptive activities in the air, or could be, again, a decision may be announced on the 13th and then reversed on the 14th. So definitely an interesting, important time, and kind of almost would feel like there's this buzzing in the air, either buzzing meaning just so many events, like, again, Uranus rules things like electricity. So things would be like literally buzzing with either activities, events, surprises, news, changes, or the events may be related to things, literally businesses that, power generation, electric cars, factories that produce anything that has to do with batteries, etc. And some grids, say power grids or, networks, etc., may become almost overloaded with this kind of buzzing energy. And I'm speaking very in generalities, but basically this may result in outages, be it because, again, windy weather, literally just too much electricity flowing, perhaps just spike in usage, whatever it might be. But this might be a little bit of a time that might result in these ups and downs, both in the market, in electric power usage, accidents, just because things are less stable than usual and things unfold faster. So not everybody's prepared, things are, somebody's driving too fast and you have to pay attention to other drivers. Even if you are a perfectly safe driver, other people may tend to perhaps overdo it at this time. Let's see. So 14th, as I mentioned, I think may see a reversal in the stock market direction from the 13th. I believe it's going to be from up on the 13th to down on the 14th, but whatever it is, it will likely be a reversal of some change. And there may also be a reversal in other areas, such as like an ongoing project, or debate, or initiative. And particularly it may affect finance, like banks, financial institutions, currencies, cryptocurrencies, as well as IT, high-tech, telecoms, aerospace, electric cars, battery manufacturing, and power plants. So maybe if the power goes out on the 13th, it's restored on the 14th, etc. And also some projects, if say something it was under review, pending, then status again allowed would change to this project being allowed to proceed on the 14th. And this may also coincide with the a reversal in the stock market direction, as I mentioned. So 14th through the 15th, so Thursday, Friday, globally we may see increased focus on things like taxes, insurance, rates, tariffs, and also there might be increased concerns about things that are some sort of losses or deaths or underground, things like underground could be literally like burial or mining or underground storage for some recycled or discarded stuff. And so somewhat of a, I guess, down sort of a days maybe in terms of mood. And there may also be increased activities, increased concerns about activities that are quote unquote underground, either again physically, literally like in the mine, or just because they're like secretive or hidden or somehow illegal or dirty. Like again, storage of some waste underground is obviously probably not a clean area, I would imagine. And so those areas may also see some sort of new changes or activities where maybe if they were previously hidden, they now may be revealed. It could be a hidden activity of some sort. Say there's, somebody was doing something illegal and they're like, I don't know, and they're caught now. Or it could be something maybe like there was an earthquake or a landslide and say there's an ancient tomb or some sort of, ancient burial. And now it is going to be exposed to the public, so something along those lines. And then finally, Friday, I give it a slight sort of a probability of going down, but only 55%, so there is still a chance that Friday may go up. But I think it's Thursday, Friday will be down, and Monday through Wednesday up. So generally speaking, in terms of the overall background influence, as I mentioned, the entire month of January into early February are going to be difficult, sort of tense times with a lot of this Uranian influence, which has to do with like accidents, just surprising quickly developing activities. It could be again from innovations, really kind of a cool things, something goes into space and we have additional influence of Jupiter, which means that breaking sort of any sort of records, and the rocket goes further. We hear about some new interesting developments that some telescope spots something new in space, or there's a new fast equipment that's developed that again breaks some records. Other records could be broken that again have to do with like luck or gambling. So maybe like something related to lotteries, some number comes up that, oh my god, like what are the odds of that? Or jackpots are really high, or somebody again is gambling in the I don't know, sports or whatever other areas, casinos or something like that, something that happens that is unusually lucky or perhaps unlucky, but some chain of coincidences or a chain of events that would be unlikely to happen, but here they are lining up and things occurring really fast, and everyone is surprised as how things are sort of, be it luck, be it bad luck, whatever you want to call it, but something that is unusual but happens really fast, and again, could be also affecting like finance, cryptocurrencies, but also any sort of activities related to like gambling, luck, etc. And also in general, things that are related to like Uranus, because Uranus will be joining, not Uranus, Mars will be joining Uranus right around the 20th, and Mars can be focusing on things like, fires, explosions, any flammable things are kind of overheating, which is why I'm saying that maybe if something were to, some issue were to occur, because things are kind of getting too aggressive or too overheated. It could be either some sort of skirmishes or protests, but also could be literally something is supposed to go, really fast. Because it's going really fast, it's overheating and some part breaks down. And particular dates, I would say the most like difficult days maybe would be 9th through the 22nd of January, but then also February 5 looks somewhat difficult, and also the 24th and 28th of January appear to be significant in terms of, again, probability of various like either industrial disasters or bad weather, etc. And it could even be something along the lines of like under similar trends that we will see around the 24th. For example, plus minus few days, we had things like Titanic had sunk, for example, or there was like some sort of a water park in Russia where it was just, we had so much snow, there was so much snow and the roof had collapsed. Or there was this, the cave filled with brine in Louisiana that had been, I guess, punctured accidentally, and that created a sinkhole. So something that, again, is involving or involves water in whatever shape, liquid, gas, or frozen state, and something just happens and things kind of like landslide, something occurs like that. Let's see, and this entire year into November of next year, we will also have Uranus and Saturn basically on-off squaring each other, which will lead to some ideological clashes. Again, unfortunately, not so good for the stock market. And it may also lead, when Mars joins, kind of to intensify this particular square, lead to accidents. And January, as I said, 9th to 22nd, then especially end of June, early July. And I would say November, or maybe September through October of 2022 even, seem like times of kind of intensified probabilities for various like problems in the stock market, but also accidents. And some of these dates, I put them in my blog at lastunka.com, so you can kind of go back and reference those. Let's see, and as I mentioned, volatility in the stock market, especially in cryptocurrencies, through early February. Then for the US, January of 2021 may see increased focus on companies related to communication, transportation, as well as education and international partnerships. We may see some major changes in those areas where old ways are changed and some new ways of doing things are introduced, so things are completely reformed. And there may also be increased news about like scandals, financial manipulations, perhaps like through, say, taxes, loans, insurance, or some problems related to tariffs, basically some disagreements or some manipulations related to that. As well as increased news about like spying, hacking, or any kind of manipulative underhanded tactics, and again, specifically involving financial manipulations, and it may undermine some of the international partnerships or collaboration. For China, the period of about mid-December through the end of January seems to be very important, especially late December through early January, where this time is kind of beneficial for new beginnings for the country, where there may be new projects announced, especially related to, like, again, IT, electricity, aerospace, high-tech networks, power plants, also healthcare and veterinary care. And I have seen some news about, I think they're just announcing, not privatizing, but taking control over Alibaba, something like that, and or government taking control over it, but also some big plans of producing more, I guess, electric cars, and basically any big projects that are being taken in China at this time. They will likely be successful long term, and they will likely again be sort of placed, whatever the situation is, whatever the new project that is going to come up is going to be successful over a long time, but also may take some time to unfold, like maybe decades. So just basically things that are proceeding slowly but surely, and lead to kind of improvement and expansion over time. And other areas where we may see some news from China again through the end of this month may involve its involvement in various international organizations such as APEC, or any other organizations that involve like other international entities. So there may be some changes either in status or of some new plans or some new visions, basically setting new goals for the future. And let's see, for oil, time through February 2021 may be important time where there may be some kind of increased news about oil and oil prices fluctuations, especially coming around the 26th of January, perhaps, basically the end of the month. And there we may see some increased news about things that are like surprising and unexpected, and this could be from, unfortunately, some sort of maritime disasters like a ship sinking or oil spill, especially I would say 24th or 26th, maybe 28th of January, or two, just increased, tensions over oil and oil prices, or among countries that say are, invested in developing oil or producing oil, shipping oil, etc. And later in the year, there may be another period of kind of important news about oil prices and perhaps suppression of prices or concerns about oil prices coming up in April, especially 8th through 11th, and then early September, especially September 1st through 3rd. At the same time, there may also be dips in the stock market at those times. And just to quickly give you a glance ahead at the next week, the week of the 18th of 2021, I think is going to be an even more, I would say, crazy week. Again, Uranus is just basically a planet that brings things that are completely unpredictable, from super highs to super lows. And again, next week there may be really also great, likely we will see major moves in the stock market, fluctuations, especially in cryptocurrencies and other currencies. Perhaps at first things will be going up like crazy again, no limits. We will have Jupiter squaring Uranus, and Jupiter basically doesn't like any limits, and as you know, it's a planet, filled, or rather it's a gaseous planet, a giant, so it likes things on a large scale, over the top. But then by the end of the next week, I think there may be things going down on the profit taking. And again, the areas that might be affected the most could be finance, banks, and also anything Uranian, so IT, airspace, telecommunications, high tech, all of that. And volatility may be even stronger than this week. Some, unusual and extreme events may occur, like some weather record is broken, or a record, again, some lottery jackpot, or some achievement by an athlete or something like that, or again, the rocket shoots into space and goes further than before, or some interesting space exploration project begins, or some interesting finding is made, etc. For US, as I mentioned previously, the 20th of 2021, which happens to be presidential inauguration day, unfortunately sees exact Mars conjunction with Uranus, and Moon will also be joining those two, and those two will also be squaring Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. So it's quite an intense transit, and again, on the positive side, it could be some really interesting and surprising way of doing it, things that haven't been done before. Perhaps it's because the inauguration is being planned to be virtual, so of course Uranus rules things that are virtual, internet, etc. At the same time, with presence of Mars there is not ideal, because it also can lead to intensification of protests and various accidents and service outages, power outages, or worse. I don't want to predict anything negative, but I'm saying this is definitely the time that is time of, like I said, buzzing and things just kind of going really fast, both in terms of innovation and doing things in a new, unusual, really cool ways that haven't been done before, but also it is a time where I would say definitely stay safe. And we will also likely see increased stock market volatility, and especially Forex, cryptocurrencies. For China, the period of January 15th through 27th of 2021, especially the 21st of January, may see some positive news about either leadership or improved situations in like international partnerships, alliances. So perhaps a new popular leader it takes over some project, or there's some new partnerships that are formed, focus on the new projects. As I mentioned, this whole month there may be some announcements of new projects related to like IT, airspace, electric cars, power generations, batteries, electricity, and I think they already have made such announcements. Again, something about producing electric car, I forget, I had that written down, but I forgot. But basically, there will be even more focus on that in the second half of January, and likely those news will be positive for the country of China and those negotiations or deals or sales made at the time will likely again proceed well, fairly easily, and they will be beneficial in the long term. Also for China, mid-February through about mid-March of 2021 appears to be an important time, where yet again there may be focus on like powerful alliances, expanding military, especially Navy, or showcasing, the military strength, or maybe it will be some development of new weapons, anything to do with like alliances and military alliances, and especially in the Navy. And then early to mid-March, there may be increased news about power plays and relations in partnerships. And again, it could be by either or any of the partners, and also issues of legality regarding some secretive activities or data breaches, and other news. In other news, there could be increased focus on like anything nuclear, whether nuclear power or recycling capabilities, or perhaps again, if there are findings of some ancient, burials or tombs or something like that, that we may also hear about that early to mid-March. Let's see, and globally, let's see, and I guess with the US, something to note for the upcoming year, April, August, and December may see increased sort of news about gold prices and value of US dollar, and at that time there may be some reversals in the gold prices, and I guess corresponding reversals perhaps in the value of US dollar, and all of that may be related to some new policies or some sort of fiscal policies or monetary policy changes in the US. And it could be something that maybe some new issue or new policy comes up first in April, then perhaps is reevaluated in August and finalized in December, or it could be just 3 independent events. And let's see, and then something really, I guess, looking even further ahead, the years of 22 to 23, and perhaps starting as early as halfway through 2021 for US will be important years where we will have Pluto returning back to its original position in the US chart, so-called Pluto return, which is something that takes a really long time for Pluto to orbit the Earth. So it's something that again doesn't necessarily affect the individual, in one individual in a lifetime, but rather something that may affect the entire country. So that would be something that corresponds with changes in either how the country functions, or who basically how the government is either structured, or how the governance occurs. And in the US, Pluto also happens to be, at least in the chart that I use, in the second house of finance, so there could also be restructuring of the financial system. And unfortunately, before things kind of get better or renewed, there may be some breakdowns again. Why reform something that works, right? So perhaps things may start occurring as early as second half of 2021, but will intensify in 22-23. And again, there may be some new exciting ways of doing things, perhaps like a new almost, the new spiral turn, round, whatever the word is. And at the same time, unfortunately, we will also have Neptune entering US's like 4th house, which has to do with like banks, savings, but also real estate, assets, and also farming, agriculture, and food production. And Neptune may bring things like either little flooding, and so there may be some pollution in, say, soil, or problems for farms, etc., which obviously could affect food prices. But it can also be real estate or assets underwater, meaning that maybe there's some changes in the value of real estate where perhaps their value drops, or there's some issues with that. And again, unfortunately, this coincides with this Pluto return, which again, on the one hand, it's regeneration and rebirth and things that can be allowed to completely come from, from just this new beautiful way of kind of developing from, like a new start, so to speak. At the same time, obviously, before a new start occurs, usually, something needs to be discarded. And so perhaps I'm combining those two influences together. I would say there may be some changes in, again, either financial system for the US specifically, or also banks, real estate, and and bank assets. So something major may be happening at that time. Again, these are very slow developing aspects. Nothing occurs overnight. So we may see the inkling of what that might be starting towards, let's say, the end of 2021. So that's really long-term predictions. For now, just kind of focus, I guess, on staying safe and enjoy any interesting and new innovations that we may hear about this week. And hopefully you're having a great time otherwise. And I'll get you guys all later. Until next time, bye.